What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Good evening, Dan Delmar and Akil Aline in for Aaron Rand. He is back tomorrow. It's time for James Mennie, now at 5:05 all summer long, and he's from the Montreal Gazette, of course. Hello, sir.
Bon Saint-Jean, vous autres.
Bonne fête, mon ami. And, comment ça va? Les choses vont bien aujourd'hui?
Ben, il va bien, mais en fait, je ne m'ai pas trouvé ben dans le discours de M. Legault un matin là, pour la fête nationale, soi-disant fête nationale. In fact, it was kind of funny because on the one hand, I guess I should be happy the Premier of Quebec stayed on message. Even on this so-called, holiday, this unifying holiday, this fête rassembleur, we have a Premier who's essentially saying there's a problem in Montreal. This is part of his message for the Fête Nationale. There's a problem in Montreal, and there's these tens of thousands of immigrants who don't speak French. And we have a duty, ... And he goes on talking about, the improbable Quebec nation, which is composed of francophones, 8 million francophones, which is kind of funny because, even as I say this, I'm sure a couple of our listeners down are going to go to their computers and start Googling what's the population of Quebec. It's 9 million, but the other million don't count because in François Legault's Quebec, you are, as always, descended from these pioneers, these builders who came here 400 years ago. And I'm quoting from the speech here, despite the conquest, we're able to build the democratic and lowly society that we enjoy today. I just wish for once, I know it's not going to happen, but I just wish for once, and I know it's a holiday today, people will go out the next day, as they did back in the day, and get reaction to a speech like this, and really just call him out on this. Because I got to tell you, I know he's running the table on his own. I know he needs all the help he can get. He's trying to get that nationalist boost. But all that said, I find it very disturbing when the fact there are people who don't look and sound like François Legault going to Montreal, which is the main economic source of all prosperity in Quebec, and that's described by the top politician here as a problem.
And do you think that, it seems to me that this is a continuation of a trend in Quebec politics that's been going on for decades. Do you think there's really any likelihood that this is going to change in the years to come, or can we expect this to just keep going and going?
I think in the past we've seen, the PQ, certainly they would temper it. We knew they were kind of lying through their teeth, but they said, everyone's a Quebecer. Who's a Quebecer? Quebecers are people who choose to live here. It's all very inclusive. François Legault has dispensed with all of that. François Legault's Quebec is one that doesn't include immigrants. It has to, grudgingly, to do all those icky jobs that the artistic and poetic Quebecers can't be bothered to do. And I'm not suggesting that that's their attitude. I'm suggesting that's François Legault's attitude. But the fact is, I find that, and on top of everything else, to know for a fact that the leaders of our so-called federal parties will hide under their desks if they were ever confronted with this side of xenophobic statements that are being made by a guy who got put into office with a little over 24% of the popular vote, I think it's just preposterous.
Moving on to federal now, and there's a big by-election tomorrow, the Trudeau Liberals. Yeah. If they're probably not going to lose it, but if they do poorly, that's a pretty interesting sign, right, James?
No, unless the Trudeau Liberals pound the Tories into the ground like a tent peg, it will be perceived as a huge disavowal of Justin Trudeau's leadership. And it's interesting because this by-election, which is a Liberal stronghold, they've had this riding for 31 years. It coincides with yet another poll suggesting that they seem to have passed the point of no return. It seems that it's not just the fact that if they dump Justin Trudeau, the Liberals would have a chance. Apparently, this new Angus Reid poll suggests that whether it's policies, whether it's cabinet composition, whether it's alternatives, the Liberals have completely lost any positives with the general public. And it doesn't really matter when the election is going to be held. They are going to be, cut to pieces. I'm not entirely sure that's 100% accurate, and I'm not entirely sure that we've seen everything there is to see about the Poilievre Conservatives. But all that said, and I've maintained this from day one, Dan, as you well know, Justin Trudeau should have left yesterday if there's any chance for not just the Trudeau Liberals, but the Federal Liberal Party of Canada to actually continue as a viable political entity in this country. I think Trudeau should have been gone yesterday.
I agree. I've been saying that for too many years now at this point. But what I'm wondering is how come Mark Carney wasn't running in that riding? I think that who they chose was important because I don't think Mark Carney wants to step in there as leader of the opposition under Pierre Poilievre and suffer for 4 years. I think if things, I wonder if our national picture, our portrait, isn't a bit more pessimistic than we thought it was because Mark Carney is not jumping in the mix anytime soon.
I'd like to say I have inside information, but, Dan, for as long as I've been doing this job, all I do is look what's happening. It's kind of like going to a crime scene and trying to figure things out. But as far as I can tell, everyone is convinced. From the rank and file to the cabinet, everyone is convinced that Trudeau, for no other reason than his ego, is going to stay there. He's not going to go. He's not going to take that famous, walk in the snow or the summer rain or the blustery fall evening. He is going to hang on. And it's just, and more's the pity, but this is it. He is the biggest liability. And the only thing that is tempering that is the fact that I think that if you deep dive into the numbers, you'll find there are at least as many people in this country who can't stand Pierre Poilievre as can't stand Justin Trudeau, which is kind of scary in itself.
And what do you think of this pro-Palestinian protest encampment set up in Victoria Square? Do you think that the value of tolerance of protest will be extended by the city of Montreal to what's going on there, or do you expect maybe the city to crack down and put an end to it promptly?
Well, when they announced the, I don't know what do you call it, the training camp or the training school, whatever you want, or the revolutionary school over at the site at McGill, I said right then and there that they were dragging their coat. They are looking for a confrontation. I think they're just ratcheting up. They want to see how much they can get away with. And right now, the message they're getting from Fadi Daguerre and from Valérie Plante is you can get away with pretty much anything. But I think that may change. If only because, yes, I know, and I was covering it back in the day, Dan, when it was Occupy Wall Street. It took the city forever. It took them 5 weeks to finally pull the thing down. But I'm wondering how much tolerance there's going to be as what little is left of Montreal's festival season is about to begin, and we don't know exactly where this particular encampment and where these particular protests are going to go.
All right, James, thanks very much, and you'll be back with Aaron tomorrow and all summer at 5:05. Take care.
You too.